There is a story you tell yourself when you feel the ground shifting beneath your feet. A quiet, confusing story you replay in your mind when you find yourself apologizing for a crime you don't remember committing. She's being emotional. She's irrational. She twists my words. There's no winning with her. You paint yourself as the rational man, the patient diplomat, navigating the unpredictable storms of a chaotic woman. This narrative is a balm for the ego. It makes you the noble victim in a game you can't understand. It allows you to feel sane in the face of madness. But in this video, we are here to shatter that story, because the story you tell yourself is a shield, a carefully constructed defense to protect you from a truth so fundamental. Most men will build a fortress of resentment to avoid seeing it. Here is the truth. Her power over you is not of her own making. It is a power you granted her. The strings she pulls are the very ones you handed to her day by day, compromise by compromise. Her control over you is not the start of the tragedy. It is the final act of a play where you willingly gave up the lead role. This is the story of how a man abdicates his own mind and how he can finally, truly take it back. The first step is to face a truth that will burn. You must look at the battlefield, not as a victim, but as a co-conspirator in your own defeat. You must see the tactics, not as random storms, but as the predictable weather of an environment you helped create. You have felt the poison of weaponized guilt. You have heard the words, "If you really loved me, you would," and felt the immediate weight of responsibility for her entire emotional state. You have been presented with a bill for her happiness, a debt for her peace, and you have paid it with your own freedom again and again, believing this was the price of love. You have known the sting of calculated shame. You have seen your greatest strengths reframed as your most profound failures. Your ambition is called selfishness. Your calm is called indifference. Your desire for solitude is called rejection. You are compared to other men, measured against past promises, and placed on a scale that is designed so you will always be found wanting. The goal is not your improvement. It is your perpetual state of apology. And you have been lost in the fog of emotional reasoning, where her feeling becomes an undeniable fact. A feeling of neglect becomes proof of your abandonment. A wave of her anxiety becomes evidence of your instability. You enter the conversation armed with logic, reason, and evidence, only to find the laws of reality have been suspended. You are not in a discussion. You are in her emotional realm, and there she is the only authority. You recognize these battles, but you have mistaken the enemy. You think the fight is with her. The fight is with the part of you that keeps showing up to a war you are guaranteed to lose. Once we face this, we must ask the question, why? Why does a rational man surrender his logic? Why does a strong man bend to manufactured shame? Why does he allow himself to be steered by the emotional currents of another? The why is the story of a vacant throne. It is the story of the unintegrated anima, the inner feminine soul of a man. The anima is meant to be a man's internal source of feeling, intuition, and connection to the mystery of life. She is the queen who should rule alongside the king of his logic and purpose. But for the man who is susceptible to manipulation, that inner queen is a ghost. He has never met her. He has never learned to listen to her. The throne in his own soul meant for her is empty. And so he does what any man with a hollow kingdom does. He seeks a ruler from the outside. He projects his entire anima onto the woman before him. She is no longer just a person. She is his soul made manifest. Her smile is his connection to joy. Her tears are the measure of his failure. Her approval is the only validation that feels real. He has made her the keeper of a part of himself he was terrified to own. Do you see the terrifying contract you have offered her? You have made her the goddess of your inner world, and now you are shocked when she acts like one, demanding sacrifice, rewriting laws, and holding your spirit hostage. She is not a master puppeteer. She is simply the woman who walked into the throne room of your soul, found it empty, and sat down. Her manipulation is not an act of conquest. It is an act of occupation, an occupation you invited. Understanding this pattern reveals the path to breaking it. This is the journey of reclaiming your own mind. It requires a quiet revolution, enacted through 3 sacred declarations of internal power. First is the declaration of emotional ownership. The man who can be played outsources his feelings. The man of integrity owns them. Your emotional state is your property, your responsibility, and your business. You must learn to feel your own joy, your own anger, your own sadness, without needing her permission or validation. When you become the source of your own emotional life, you take away her primary weapon. Her emotional storms may rage, but they will be her storms, and you will be watching from the safety of your own shore. Second is the declaration of the unshakeable frame. Her tactics rely on a world without rules, where the boundaries are always shifting. You must build your own. Your frame is your personal constitution, your non-negotiable truths. It is a quiet, internal structure built from your own values. When a manipulative tactic is deployed, you do not argue. You do not engage the content of the drama. You simply, calmly, hold to your frame. Your no is not the start of a negotiation. It is the end of a conversation. This structure gives you a place to stand when the ground is designed to move. Third is the declaration of the observer. The manipulated man absorbs. The conscious man observes. You must cultivate the ability to witness her behavior without becoming entangled in it. When the guilt is deployed, you do not feel guilt. You observe she is using guilt. When the shame begins, you do not feel shame. You observe that is a shaming tactic. This detachment is not coldness, it is clarity. It allows you to see the game for what it is, often a desperate and wounded strategy, and to choose not to play. This leads us to the final stage, the liberation. The goal of this work is not to win the arguments. It is not to control her as she once controlled you. That is the thinking of a man who is still in chains, merely fighting for a longer leash. The true liberation is the profound, soul-altering realization that the only person who can truly control you is you. It is the understanding that your inner kingdom is your primary responsibility, and its borders must be protected at all costs. The man who has undertaken this work, who owns his emotional state, who holds an unshakable frame, and who observes the world with clarity, is a mountain. He is not a rock to be worn down by the river. He is the mountain that directs the river's course. His peace is not dependent on the weather. His validation is forged in the fire of his own purpose. He becomes a man who, by his very nature, cannot truly be played. because he is not a piece in anyone else's game. When you become this man, you will find that manipulation withers in your presence. It requires a reaction, an insecurity, a vacancy to work. You will have none to offer, so do not resent her for the game she played. They were not an act of malice. They were a gift. They were the diagnostic tool. They were the alarm bell ringing, showing you the empty throne room in your own soul, telling you it is finally time to find your king, integrate your queen, and rule the only kingdom that ever truly mattered.